That was like the most natural. Yeah, I didn't even think. I was just like, ah.
I love the chemical.
The chemical, that was so perfect. Really.
Come again, don't mind.
I don't know if I'll be able to do the same joke again. We'll find it'll just flow.
Whatever you can.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Cairo Live. Man, I'm so excited for this interview which we are just about to have. My next guest, oh my, I am sure after this interview I'm gonna get and make more money than ever before. His name is Gideon Nzukie. He's the director of Hashting Solution, which is a global technology company that has presence in over 30 countries and works with the largest brands in the world, such as Coca-Cola, Diageo, Unilever, Nestle, and L'Oreal, and many, many, many more. He's also the co-founder of Crescent 360 Africa, which is a digital media firm that specializes in social media marketing, web design, strategy, and communication. If I dwell on this intro, I cannot even go to the questions. Man, he's the coolest and calmest business guy you'll ever find in the Kenyan industry. Thank you so much, Gideon, for coming. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let's go to your story now.
Yes.
I want to get a glimpse of your background. Tell us where you're born. Were you born in Kenya? How was your childhood like? Just tell us a bit about your background.
Well, if we go to my birth, it was a very cloudy day in Bethlehem. I'm joking. So,
Yeah.
no, yes, I was born in Kenya.
Uh-huh.
I am Nairobi born and bred.
Wow.
Nairobi Hospital. I
Okay.
don't know which ward, don't ask. I know it was 11 a.m. Yeah, in 1989. So yes, I was born in Nairobi.
Mhm.
I'm a child of Nairobi.
Mhm.
I'm a Kenyan.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
Tell us about your education. Where did you study? Brookhouse. Where? Just tell us.
Okay, yeah, so for primary school, I began at St. Christopher's.
Mhm.
And somewhere around grade 5, standard 5, I believe here,
Yeah.
I moved to the States,
Mhm.
where I went to school from grade 5 all the way to grade 11.
Mhm.
Then we moved back to Kenya,
Wow.
and I finished grade 12 at the International School of Kenya.
Ah,
Yeah, so
okay.
that's my high school primary
Yes,
life.
High
Yes.
school primary life. Okay,
Yes.
now let me just get a glimpse of that. How was now transiting back to Kenya? How are you able to cope with the different systems?
It was very difficult, and not necessarily because of the switch, because there's no switch.
Yeah.
ISK is an American school, so I was okay there.
Yeah.
But the difference in life, in the States, you get a work ethic from very early. So
Yeah.
I had my first job when I was 14.
Which
I was a gardener.
Wow.
Yes, I was a gardener.
Yeah.
I would cut grass and
Mhm.
trim hedges and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
I got a job in a nursing home at the age of 17. So I
Ah.
took care of the elderly.
Yeah.
So I had a work ethic from an early age.
Mhm.
And that allowed me to be slightly financially independent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you're
You
coming
were
back
earning,
here...
You were earning money from those two jobs, yeah?
Absolutely. Yes, so
Mm-hmm.
we thank God for America. But that instilled a nice work ethic from a very young age. So I've
Yeah.
always been able to work. And the
Yeah.
discipline to work is not hard for
Mm,
me
mm,
personally.
mm.
But coming back here, there's a bit of a switch
Mhm.
because you can't find opportunities to do work that will
Yeah.
compensate you well when you're
Yeah.
still in high school or when you're in your early years of uni.
Mm.
So it was difficult at first to adjust to, having to figure out how you're going to get money from your parents, which is very difficult. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so there was a bit of an adjustment. It kind of
Mm.
felt like I was going backwards
Back.
for a while,
Yeah.
but we managed.
Wow. let me know. You came back to Kenya, no job, so you had to now depend on your parents.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was still a high school student.
Yeah.
So naturally, as a high school student, most Kenyan high school students depend on their parents. But
Mm.
coming from an American background, I depended on them for food and shelter. But
Mm.
everything I wanted, I
Mhm.
was able to provide for myself. So that was a bit of an adjustment for me.
Mm.
Yeah, wanting less
Okay.
for a while.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're back to Kenya, finished high school. What's happening in your life at this particular time?
So after high school, I took a few years to myself. I had a
Mhm.
bit of a wild time. I would say I was a bit of a wild child. Yeah, so I kind of got into a bit of partying and all that, and became a bit of a recluse for a few years. I'll be very honest.
Yeah.
It's not like I jumped directly in. I just believed that I was dealing with the switch of life the wrong way. Just the switch from an American lifestyle to the
a
Kenyan lifestyle. I think
yeah.
I started dealing with it the wrong way. So maybe I believe I was escaping for a while, but there was still that drive to do better, and the frustration of not actually doing better, I think, added to me becoming a bit of a wild child, because I gained a bit of a reputation. So I think I enjoyed it a bit in that season, yes. So that's what happened right out of high school. But then after that, I started interning and apprenticing. My father was doing some mining ventures.
Okay, I'm sorry to cut you short.
Yes.
Before we go at that point, I know there are many people who are like you, who come from US, then come back here. Just the story you told us where there's a time you were not really focused. Let me allow me to dwell on that story. Yeah. So what would you tell somebody who is maybe experiencing something like you, from what you learned, lessons you've learned, and what you would wish you would have done differently?
First off, it's okay not to be okay. I think there's a lot of emphasis put on pretending you're okay.
Yeah.
It's okay not to be okay. But after all that is said and done, just sit down. It's okay to accept that things have changed, and think very critically and ask yourself, what is the best thing I can do for me to move forward with my life?
Yeah.
And be ready to take those steps. Yeah, that is the best advice I can give you. Like, you have, if your lifestyle switched very quickly and you're not ready for it, and it wasn't something that was planned for, it's okay not to be okay, and that's fine. What you're feeling is justified. But at the end of it all, just have that time to yourself and ask yourself, okay, so these are my cards, these are my real options at this point. What can I do to make my life better?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So now, I want to know the turning point. Just please explain what really made you now shift, now being a better person, and now starting to work again. Was it your dad? Was it something you saw, a movie? What exactly was the turning point?
I watched Rocky. No, I'm playing.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. It's hard to say there was one turning point, but I think the biggest trigger was my mother passed away in 2011, and it was just now us, my dad, my sisters, and I think when that void came, there was just a way life pushed me to become more responsible, and I felt like there was something missing.
Yeah.
So, I called my godparents, they're pastors, and I just felt like I should go see them, see if I can get myself to finish uni. And somehow
Please allow me to ask who your...
I'd rather not say.
No, okay. No
I'd rather not say.
No problem.
But they're spiritual people.
Yeah.
And so in that time and in that season, I really felt somehow drawn towards God. And I was quite broken.
Yeah.
I was in a really dark place at that point because nothing had really worked out the way I expected or hoped. Not just for me, but for my family in total. And so I felt God telling me to take a step. And so I took a step and I began really seeking God and trying to find Him. And that's what began the journey for me.
Wow, wow. Okay. Now, turning point is here. Where do you start? Just tell us what is happening in your life right now. What is the first step you made to be a better person?
I accepted Jesus as my Lord and my Savior.
Wow, amazing.
I did. And it's not like, I feel like people feel like when you say you're born again, it's like an experience where now you do nothing wrong or everything changes. It's not been like that for me. It's been a journey of highs and lows this season and that season, but nothing has changed from the fact that I do believe Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and that has never changed. And regardless of the highs and the lows, which are just the consequences of life and lifestyle and the path, I have done my best to maintain that foundation. Yeah.
Wow. Now let's go back to Is there a first job you did, or is it uni that you started joining to study? What is happening after accepting Jesus?
Yeah, at that point, I went to university.
Yeah.
And thanks to my godparents, they're the ones who took me to it. And I think that's the point where I started discovering what I really like. I went there for business management, and that's what I did. But then somewhere in the middle of that, I began doing media and marketing as well. And I found I really have a strong passion for consumers and getting them to make up their minds about something. So that process of uni really brought that out for me. Yes.
Okay. Wow. So tell us about your experience in uni, maybe lessons you've learned, experiences that you had that you still remember till now that has made you a better person.
I think uni, because I was very involved and I was really, really passionate about it, it brought out the good things. I was able to chair the student council for 2 years when I was in uni. So I found that I have a passion for a bit of leadership, and that came out very strongly then. I was also able to take on projects, like we had a charity drive, and I found that I have a passion for social responsibility there. Above and beyond that, I had a passion for working in team settings. So I really thrived through group projects, and it just came naturally to me to be able to put things together with a group and sell. So I knew I'm going to end up facing clients one day. That's one thing I discovered very strongly in uni. Yeah, it was also a fun place to meet other students from around the world, and I also discovered my passion for business in uni because I opened my first business, which was I was a landlord to some of my classmates. Basically, some of the international students, I was able to provide them with serviced apartments here and be very well off for it in uni. For a uni student, I can say I was quite okay.
Wow. So now tell us about this first business here you started. Tell us about the story and then something you learned from that experience.
It was called Brand New Management, and basically I provided serviced housing for international students. And so they would pay me, and I would make sure that their houses are fully serviced. They have cleaners, they have food cooked every day, fully furnished, and yeah, it went well. It taught me a lot about business management, managing resources, being able to handle money well, and being able to keep your customers happy. So that's a very good, it was a very good learning point for that, especially since I was seeing them every day in class. So, you have to do well, otherwise it won't be well between you guys.
Yeah, so like for the period, tell us the period of time you ran that business.
2 years.
2 years?
Yes.
Why did you end it?
Well, I left uni, so I lost my market.
Okay.
And on top of it, the uni moved to another place, so it wasn't possible for me to offer that service anymore through the apartment that I was using.
Okay, wonderful.
And I sold the business as well, so, so I didn't make out badly. Yes.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. So let me ask you, after uni, start another business or went back to your dad? What is happening?
After uni, I had a brief period where I was searching and discovering, went for a few job interviews, but my co-founder at Crescent, John, we call him Pablo, he approached me. He was like, hey man, I think we could really do some business together.
13.
This is 2013.
Yeah.
We started talking when I was just about to finish uni, but in 2014 is where I made the decision to join. Yes, and be a partner to John and what he was trying to do. Yeah. And we just clicked from day one. We're so different. We're completely different backgrounds, but we had the same passion. We had the same drive. We had complementing skill sets. Put me in front of a person, put me in front of a team, and tell me to convince them why they should hire us. I'm at home. That is my home. John, put him at the table and make him execute the project and run the team. He's at home. So I came in for business development, he came in for operations. Okay.
Now, with starting a new business, many people start a new business and don't really prosper. It's a very hard time for them. So I want to understand that point in time in your life. Was it difficult? Some of the experiences you had that you now are a learning lesson, and what you can share about you starting now Crescent 360 with Pablo.
Yes, it was very difficult. What I can say about starting business is I feel like people come in with the wrong expectations. Most people are coming in with how much money can I make? And that's okay. But you also have to set your expectations at the right time. For us, it was how can we build our portfolio? How can we build a reputation? What are the opportunities we can take today that can get us to be better? Yeah. Because if you're fresh, then your first thought should be, how do I grow my reputation? Because reputation brings more business. Yeah, it can be Crescent 360 today. I can sell it to someone and go start another business tomorrow, and they'll follow me.
Yeah.
So that was the focus in the beginning. Yes. So yes, it was very difficult. John and I would share money. We would share 200 bob to get to town. We would share another like 200 to buy 2 cups of coffee. Then we would sit there all day. I would draft proposal after proposal.
Let me just get this story clear. You went to St. Christopher's, went to States, but you're sharing 200 with a guy like 10 years later.
Yeah.
So was it hard for you during that time, or were you appreciating that moment?
It was very hard,
Yeah.
but I also appreciated it because the hunger keeps you awake.
Oh.
And if you use that hunger
Yeah.
well, you'll work harder than the next guy. So yes, I did go to all those places. That is courtesy of my parents and my godparents that I had those opportunities, but it's not mine. Yeah, and I chose the entrepreneurial path. I could have gone and worked for an agency.
Yeah.
I had the qualifications. I could have gone and worked for a company and been comfortable with a salary, but I had the entrepreneurial drive because of my experience in uni, where I knew I could build a business if I just had the right clients. So it was the same approach, different market. You can build this business if you get the right clients. And so that's how we approached it. Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, difficult, but rewarding. Because for me, the reward is the journey. Everything you go through makes you who you are. And so that is the ultimate reward, who you become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Back to now, the mistakes of early life of Crescent 360. Any that you can point out that can be a learning lesson to people who are watching and has been a learning lesson to you?
So, very good question. I would say the second part of the question is better for me. No mistakes. None. Only lessons.
Wow.
Because mistakes means if I could go back, I could change that. And that's an unrealistic perception. You'd rather work with today. So for me, I don't see any of the earlier, what you would term failures, which is just failing to meet my standards, as mistakes. I see them as lessons for the future. So with that in mind, what would I do differently? I would have modeled my business the way it is now. However, I didn't know that I could do that at the time. So the failure actually taught me how to maximize my profits. Yeah.
Is it something you can elaborate?
Yes,
the
I took on
models?
too many employees. I had so many overheads. We had so many salaries. And we were people who were working on very short-term retainers. So having an employee full-time, yet you have part-time retainers.
Yeah.
So you're retained for 6 months, you're retained for 8 months, you're retained for 3 months, but you have a 12-month employee. No balance in the math.
Yeah.
So I think that was just out of goodwill, wanting to be that entrepreneur, like fit the mold.
Yeah.
Also, acquiring the offices and taking on all that overhead. We were making a lot of turnover. Our money was in the millions, but we were keeping very little, just because it would just go and go. So a point where when we came to a breaking point and we were forced to remodel our business and come up with a solution.
Let me understand this breaking point. What is happening there fully?
We have the client base,
Yes.
but it's a political season. So no one is advertising.
Ah.
No one is marketing. They are my clients, yes,
Yeah.
but there's no jobs. So in that season, I couldn't sustain the operations. Neither could John, neither could I. I mean, entrepreneur life is hard. I lost my car. I lost
Yeah,
my
I remember
office
that.
space. You remember?
Yeah, I remember the
So
car.
it was
Yeah.
very difficult,
Yeah.
A car you had worked very hard for, it was very difficult. But within that period, the lessons that came out on how to model the business have sustained us till today and have made us extremely profitable to this point.
Yeah, so let me get those lessons you learned during that time, because it's very important for people, because I know many people are making the same mistakes, maybe getting many employees or not having a clear plan of what they're doing. So maybe from your story, they can learn to do things differently. So what are some of the lessons right now, because many businesses have ups and downs, and during your downs is when somebody else can learn and be better in their business. So let me understand the lessons that you learned during that time, where you were not getting jobs, you lost your car, lost your office space. So the lessons you learned and how you got back to being a business.
I would say the lessons we learned are actually tied to what you would call a mistake, which I don't believe is a mistake. They're tied to how you worked.
Yeah.
Because the only thing I can tell someone is don't employ beyond your own contracts. So if you have a job and it's only 1 year, then you make it very clear to that person, I can only work with you for 1 year. Yeah. Don't hope is not a strategy. Yeah. Don't take on more than you can chew. And if you feel, just weigh your math, do the real, it comes down to numbers. This is business. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Yeah? No matter how well-intended you are. You're thinking, I'll fight for this person, I'll make sure they're okay. But don't bite off more than you can chew. Money is money. It speaks a very different language. It's a numbers game. You either have it or you don't have it, period. Yeah. Another thing I would say, pay your suppliers on time when you're paid. Don't say, I'll put this one off and pay them with my next contract, when you know they did work for the previous contract. Pay them on time. Those are the two biggest lessons I can give someone.
Getting back, your business is back to life. How do you now start getting new clients, or how did you now make this new model a thing?
I believe business has a way of teaching you what you need to know to survive, because it's a survival game. If you don't get it, someone else gets it. So we just sat down and thought very critically and came up with very sound decisions. Funny enough, we still work on campaigns with the same team that we used to hire. We no longer hire them. They have jobs, but we hire them on a contractual basis as and when there's jobs. And because that has minimized my numbers, I'm able to maximize my profits while also charging lower than anyone else, because they all have overheads. Yeah. And still give you the quality of work that's good. But you see, that would not have been possible if me and this team of people that used to work for me had not developed a chemistry. So that process of them working for me developed the chemistry that has sustained us to this level. That's why I say there's only lessons, no mistakes. Hey guys, this story doesn't end here. There's so much more to come. What I'd like you to do is like or leave a comment below. And by the way, if you have any questions, just drop them below in the comment, and Joe Jakes and I will do our best to answer all of them for you.